A supplier audit checklist, it can be a super powerful tool. But let's be honest, only if it's actually designed to make things better, right? So today, we're going to dig into a framework that'll help you turn those audits from just a box-ticking exercise into a real strategic advantage for your whole supply chain.
So let's just ask the big question right up front. Is your supplier your strongest link, or are they your weakest? Because in today's world, everything is connected. Your supplier's performance, that directly hits your success, your reputation, even your bottom line. There's just no getting around it. You have to get this right.
Okay, so here's where it gets tricky. The real challenge is that a one-size-fits-all audit, it just doesn't cut it. You need a process that's, standard enough to be consistent across the board, but also flexible enough to handle different types of suppliers and different industries. It's a real balancing act, for sure.
So how do you actually build that blueprint? Well, we're going to walk through a pretty comprehensive 10-point framework. Seriously, think of this as the essential architecture for an audit that actually works. Yep, 10. That's the magic number of core areas we're going to cover. And when you put these 10 points together, they give you this amazing 360-degree view of what your supplier can really do. So, you ready? Let's take a look at what they are.
Okay, here's the whole list. First up, human resources. Are their people trained and certified? Then we've got requirements and design. How do they handle your specs? Number 3, on-time delivery, a big one. 4 is purchasing. How do they buy their own stuff? Then their own supply chain. Yep, you got to look at their suppliers too. Next is incoming product inspection, followed by the production process itself. We've also got EHS, that's environmental, health, and safety. Then how they do their own quality audits and use KPIs. And last but not least, risk management. Now I know that's a lot, so to make it easier to digest, we're going to group these 10 into 3 main themes: core capabilities, the product lifecycle, and then performance and risk.
All right, let's jump into that first theme. We're talking about the absolute foundation of any good supplier, their core capabilities. This is all about their people, how they buy things, and their own network of partners.
So what you're really doing here is checking the fundamentals. You're asking, are their people, like their inspectors, actually qualified and certified? When they buy from their suppliers, do they have a solid quality process in place? And look, it's not just about their factory. Is their entire supply chain managed in a way that can handle bumps in the road and, actually get better over time? Okay, so once we've got the foundation solid, it's time to follow the product's journey. This next part of the audit is all about tracing everything from the moment you hand over your design requirements to the second that finished product rolls off the line. And the key word here is translation. Can the supplier take what you need, your requirements, and successfully translate that into a world-class product? You'd be surprised how many quality problems start right here. So making sure they have a rock-solid process for this is absolutely crucial if you want things to run smoothly. Now this is where things get really interesting. We're not just taking a quick walk through the factory. No, we're breaking down the entire production phase. We're looking at how they plan before production even starts. We're checking their machine settings at the very beginning to make sure quality is built in. We're looking at how materials flow through the plant to keep things efficient. And yeah, we're even checking their maintenance schedules to make sure a surprise breakdown doesn't derail everything. All right, for our last section, let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. This is all about gauging their overall performance and, maybe more importantly, what safeguards they have in place to protect your business if things go wrong. And this quote just nails the mindset you should be looking for. A great supplier isn't just trying to pass your audit. They're constantly looking at their own data, doing their own audits, and trying to get better. What you really want is a partner who's obsessed with improvement, not just checking a compliance box. So this is where you really have to dig in. Are they using solid data, KPIs, to actually create action plans that lead to change? And you have to ask about the big what-ifs. What's the plan if they go bankrupt? Or what if counterfeit parts get into the supply chain? You need to see concrete plans. And of course, none of this matters without a non-negotiable commitment to health, safety, and environmental standards.
Okay, so we've got this awesome 10-point framework. But a framework is only as good as the tools you use, right? I mean, a 50-page paper checklist? That's just a nightmare to manage and analyze. So the real question becomes, how do we take this checklist and turn it into something smart? And that's where the SMART checklist comes in. This is the evolution. It takes your audit from a dead, static document and turns it into a living, breathing, data-driven tool. Just picture it, a flexible digital checklist where you can tweak things on the fly and the scoring happens automatically. What you get is instant, actionable information right at your fingertips.
And that really brings us to the most important point.
The whole goal of a modern supplier audit shouldn't just be about catching them when they mess up. It should be about finding ways to grow together. So the real question you have to ask yourself is this: is your audit just a test with a pass or fail grade, or are you using it as a tool to build a stronger, more innovative partnership for the long haul?